Welcome to the fourth episode of Business Chronicles. I am Pallavi Agnihotri.
I am Sebastien.
In today's episode, we have the pleasure of welcoming Shaun Payen, the highest rated trainer in Mauritius and a barrister at law, for an in-depth interview.
Followed by the tax deadline for the month of July 2024, presented by Sheldon Rangasamy.
Let's now delve into the first part of our talk show.
Hi Shaun.
Hi Sebastien.
Thank you for being with us today and for the fourth episode of Business Chronicles.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a real pleasure to see the wonderful Rogers Capital Tax, and it's flourishing so much at the moment, and I'm really impressed and pleased to be part of this adventure and this program.
Shaun, you've had an interesting career journey, starting as a barrister and now focusing on public speaking training. Can you tell us a bit about how you transitioned from practicing law to becoming a full-time public speaking trainer?
I must say that public speaking has always been part of my personality. It is something that I have started when I was 13 years old and that I have developed over the years. In the past, I would say now 18 years of my life. And my choice of career as a barrister has always been focused on exercising something that, on practicing something that could eventually allow me to develop and deliver my passion to the fullest of its ability. So, which is why I wanted to always become a barrister, because of public speaking. Today, I realized that there was something that could be done in order to help Mauritians, in order to achieve their full potential. And as you all know, public speaking is the number one fear in the world. And if one is able to overcome the fear of public speaking, one can achieve so much more in his or her life, be it in professional or their personal life. So this is why I decided to focus on a market or a niche where I could eventually make Mauritians aware of their full potential and unlock that through public speaking.
You tell us, Shaun, earlier that public speaking is one of the biggest fears of everyone. Can you share a piece of advice to help our viewers to overcome their fear of public speaking?
One of the greatest fears, I've heard a lot of sort of misconceptions about overcoming the fear of public speaking. People will often come to tell you that in order to overcome the fear of public speaking, you need to picture the audience naked. However, those are misconceptions that people have. Unfortunately, there is no magic pill that I can give to my candidates to overcome the fear of public speaking. Creating a welcoming, a safe, confidential, and sort of empowering platform where my candidates can exercise their talent is how I sort of created my masterclasses. From that, I instill in them one of the most important values to overcome their fear, and that is to practice. But not only practicing without any proper monitoring, but practicing through my guidance and empowering them with the proper tools and equipment to get better and better at speaking in public is how I help them overcome their fear. For example, I give my candidates over 25 opportunities to stand up and speak in front of a crowd. Of course, you will understand that the first time it's always a little challenging, where they will come forward and read from their notes, for instance. But by the end of the 5 weeks, after extensive practice and extensive use of the tools that I provided with them, they're able to effectively stand up and speak without any notes. And this is kind of my greatest accomplishment.
As a former barrister, Shaun, I'm sure you encountered many high-pressure situations. How do you coach your clients to handle nerves and maintain composure during important speeches?
It's all a matter of preparation, right? Of course, there are certain situations where candidates need to face their fear head-on. It's all a matter of telling the candidates to be a master of their topics, to be a master of what they can come forward and express in front of a crowd, which is why one of the best ways to overcome that and to face high-pressure situations is to, what I always like to say, switching their focus. Very often we are always centered with regards to what people might be thinking about ourselves, and this is one of the ways that people fail to deliver in high-pressure situations. And this is why I tell them to switch their focus to the content and delivery of their speeches. Very often, for instance, one piece of advice I'd like to share, which comes back to your question, is that we often do things with our body that we're a little unaware of, holding our hands as we're speaking and doing what we call mannerisms. By being aware of what we're doing, by being aware of what we're doing with our body, by being more conscious about our content as opposed to what people are thinking about us, we're able not only to confront those high-pressure situations, but at the same time overcome the fear of public speaking and deliver more impactful presentations.
In today's digital age, virtual presentations have become more common. Do you have some tips on how to engage an online audience as compared to a live one?
Absolutely. So one of the ways in which we can confront those virtual situations, there are a couple of tips that I give to my candidates. First of all, we need to be aware that on virtual presentations, there is no need to move on stage, and therefore we need to maximize on all the other elements of body language. And still, as I always like to tell my candidates, the most important element of body language is eye contact. Now, when I am communicating with a live audience, I need to connect with them by looking at them in the eyes. And this is one of the most powerful ways as to how we can create that rapport with the audience. On a virtual presentation, virtual platforms as well, it's similar. I need to be able to recreate that. So one of the best ways to do this is to not look at the screen, not look at the camera, but look slightly below the camera, right? And that's where the magic lies. Now, I understand very often it might be very tempting for candidates to look at the screen in order to create that same connection. So what I always tell them to do, and that's one of the best tips I can give you, is to reduce the brightness on the screen to further reinforce the power of their message by looking at that little dot slightly below the camera, which is very annoying to look at usually. Furthermore, a lot of people ask me what is my position on virtual backgrounds. On Zoom, on Teams, you have the possibility of having virtual backgrounds, sometimes very funny ones, etc. It's fine if ever you're talking to your colleagues in a normal day-to-day meeting, but if ever you have a serious presentation to deliver, avoid using virtual backgrounds because your gestures might get muddled in the presentation. I always like to tell candidates to always be against a plain wall or a plain structure every time they're delivering their speeches. So I would usually be probably here if I have to deliver a virtual presentation. Why? Because you got to make sure that no one can get behind you. The other day I was delivering a speech in front of a candidate, and the mother of one of the candidates got behind her with a plate of food. And one day I was delivering a presentation with corporate clients, and there was a guy who took her laptop and was facing towards the window, and the window cleaner just dropped down the camera, waved at the camera, and then went back up. So make sure you're standing in a position or sitting in a position where you're always against a wall or against a plain structure where no one can get behind you, just so you can maximize on the focus of your presentation.
Since we're talking about virtual presentations, Shaun, do you believe public speaking skills can be successfully coached online?
It is very hard, I will not hide, because the fear that you will be experiencing when confronting and facing a live audience will be different than that of a virtual audience, for instance. And this is why I coach my candidates on a face-to-face basis, and I don't really believe that you can learn public speaking by downloading a course online or by by doing the coaching virtually. However, I still give them certain tools and certain tips so as to maximize their presentations online as well.
And as someone who has been a public speaker for years, what do you find to be the most rewarding aspect of the job, and what keeps you motivated to continue in this field?
So the question is in twofold. What is the most satisfying aspect of my job? It's to find the progress in my candidates. I was sharing earlier on that usually candidates come to me on the very first session being heavily reliant on their notes, and having that same candidate who would not maintain eye contact with my candidates, who would be trembling at the simple thought of just standing up and speaking, being able to deliver a full speech without any notes, being able to speak from the heart and being able to inspire the audience by the beauty of his speech is something that I find extremely rewarding, and that always keeps me going. And the second part of the question was about what keeps me motivated. And this is the main aspect of my career which keeps me motivated, is to see candidates willing to be better versions of themselves. I must say that I'm a patriot at heart, and I find beauty in the dedication and will of Mauritians today, where I always like to share. I've seen candidates taking living quite far from Eben, which is where I deliver my classes, and coming here and taking 4 buses to attend my masterclass and being the first one to attend the session. We always hear a lot of misconceptions about Mauritians, but I am so proud today to be coaching my fellow countrymen and fellow countrywomen, and seeing how much they are able to learn, acquire these skills, come forward, getting better and better, is something I will always cherish and will always be grateful for.
Thank you.
Looking ahead, what are your future goals and plans as a public speaking trainer, Shaun?
To be fair, I just want to continue to do what I do, and it will continue as long as I can help Mauritians and anyone around the world to be to get to a better version of themselves. This is exactly what I want to continue, and I am hopeful that we can achieve greater heights, especially in our country. And I know that we all have that potential, and it only requires someone to unlock that potential just to get better, and that's what I'm really proud of today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure interacting with you both.
Thank you.
Welcome to the tax compliance segment of Business Chronicles. Let's dive into the important filing deadlines for the month of July. Mark your calendars for the 31st July 2024. This will be the statutory deadline for the electronic submission of corporate return by companies with accounting year ending in January 2024, Advanced Payment System APS return, VAT return for June 2024, monthly returns regarding TDS, pay-as-you-earn, social contributions, and PRGF for the month of June 2024. Be reminded that any payment of taxes relating to the said filings should be remitted along with the returns. This wraps up this segment on tax deadlines for this month. Stay tuned to Business Chronicles for more essential insights into the complex world of taxation. Until next time, stay informed and stay compliant.
Dear Business Chronicle viewers, we are thrilled to announce our upcoming webinar on Thursday, 25th July 2024 on the recent Avago decision.
This live webinar is uniting key stakeholders and experts to discuss on the implications for the industry. 10 billion rupees now remains payable by Avago Technologies following the ERC decision.
Mark your calendars for 25th July 2024. Register now by clicking on the link below to secure your spot. See you there! That's all for today's episode of Business Chronicles.
See you in the next one.